Parliament debates status of Namah as leader of opposition. Barrick's court proceedings against the state dismissed. And new deal signed for hydroelectricity.
This is National MTV News with Helen Seah.
Good evening and thanks for joining us for Tuesday's news. The Porgera mine issue was raised by Western Governor Taboy Awiyoto in Parliament today. He asked the Prime Minister about the mine's waste being dumped into the river system. When responding, the Prime Minister also made statements on the ongoing saga in which Barrick New Guinea Limited is challenging the government for special mining lease. And while Parliament debated this issue, next door, Justice Kandakasi gave his ruling on the matter, which was sought by Barrick. But first, Tekla Gunga reports from Parliament.
The initial question raised by Western Governor was on concerns on mine waste from Porgera Gold Mine into the Lai River and later into Strickland and Fly Rivers in Western. While commenting on measures taken by Oktedi Mine on compensation for environmental damage, Governor Awiyoto asked if similar arrangements will be done for villages in Nomad, Lake Mari or Suki who use the Fly River for their livelihood.
Now question bami like sawe whether it's 100% now state the olim online bami lo Western province especially online bami sini lo Nomad Lake Mari now line Tamlo Kosan Suki Goran Wara Fly River Golon Kiwai Balkika all bakat Samdalilik look sawelo the 100% of them before.
Concerns on environmental damage in Porgera are amongst the agendas listed as legacy issues faced by landowners and surrounding communities in Porgera for at least 30 years.
Both Porgera and Oktedi's discharge into Fly and Strickland River system, as well as the ocean and marine life outside of the Fly River discharge, will get the Environment and Conservation to sanction a study to look into this to ensure we are given the right comfort.
In terms of awarding the special mining lease to KMHL, the Prime Minister said it was done so in consistence with the new mining laws, on the view that the first right is given to state-owned mining company, Kumul Minerals Holdings Limited. Noting comments from Barrick to take the matter to court, Prime Minister Marape says BNL must complete the matter fast, and so the state identifies its mistakes and addresses it.
We have not completely shut Barrick out. Option for equity and operatorship is on the table. You can come and talk to us. There's a new arrangement, but under our own Kumul Mining Holding Limited, SML, which landowners are already inside, affected areas already inside, and Enga provincial government is inside.
With the SML now awarded to a state entity, the government plans to meet with Porgera landowners and the Enga provincial government to further discuss fair equity shares going forward. Tekla Gunga, National MTV News.
Justice Amben Kandakasi has dismissed all court proceedings in the national courts between Barrick New Guinea Limited and the state. This includes the judicial review sought by Barrick New Guinea Limited, challenging the validity of the government's decision to terminate the special mining lease once held by the company.
Justice Kandakasi dismissed all proceedings, including the judicial review sought by Barrick New Guinea Limited at the National Court after the state terminated its special mining lease. Justice Kandakasi said Barrick should have gone to court with clean hands. He said before running to court, Barrick should have sat down with its JV partners. Barrick has a joint venture partnership with Mineral Resources Enga Limited. The court learned that prior to coming to court, it did not consult Mineral Resources Enga as a shareholder. Despite Barrick owning the largest shares, it still had to have consultation with the MRE as per the joint venture agreement. Kandakasi said shutting out MRE wasn't fair. Another action sought by Barrick that is deemed as abuse of court process is its application filed overseas challenging the same matter. Despite Barrick claiming it is two different entities, the National Court established that it is still the same company. The decision by the court to dismiss all the proceedings is also to allow all parties concerned to focus their resources on one issue at a time. Because Barrick did not exhaust processes in addressing the matter outside of court, the court saw this as abuse of court process. Jeremy Moggy, National TV News.
And in a statement released this afternoon, Barrick New Guinea Limited says it intends to appeal the dismissal of its application for judicial review. The company says it disagrees with numerous grounds outlined in the ruling. The Eastern Highlands Provincial Government is demanding a separate petroleum retention license for the areas in the province covered in the Papua LNG project. According to Governor Peter Numu, his provincial government has been left out as stakeholders, although the project expands into Eastern Highlands provincial borders from Elk Antelope in the Gulf province under the area identified as PRL 15. Numu is acting on the social mapping results by company Oil Search Limited, which shows seismic activities of the expansion into 3 remote areas of the Eastern Highlands.
The areas in the Eastern Highlands province said to be covered under the Petroleum Retention License 15 include Subuwan Village and Paiti in the Okapa district and Kilimari in the Obura Wonenara district. These are villages in Eastern Highlands province which border the Gulf province and are said to be impact areas of the expansion of the Elk Antelope Gulf under the Papua LNG project. Based on social mapping done by Oil Search, the expansion of the Elk Antelope extends into the Eastern Highlands boundaries on the eastern bank of the Purari River. The eastern bank of the Purari River is said to be where customary boundaries for Gulf province ends and that of the Eastern Highlands people begins.
People of Eastern Highlands been migrated some years ago. According
to Eastern Highlands Governor Peter Numu, his government was left out as stakeholders in negotiations for the Elk Antelope expansion into Eastern Highlands. The provincial government is now demanding a separate PRL for the people of Eastern Highlands province.
You operate lo kerma site na drilling na kisimol oil blomipla lo area blomipla. So you come and say, Lord Islam, you must give me plus separate PRL and PDL.
The social mapping results also indicated that seismic activities for the Elk Antelope extension were done within the Eastern Highlands and locals claimed environmental damages.
All Kerma no sakam kisim. All Gulf to no sakam kisim. All social mapping or leukemia. All Wokim, or looking was a member Eastern Islands. So Eastern Islands are kissing all damages time, all put him, all seismic activities going checked by Interworld.
Mipla Eastern Highlands, Mipla inside all labor recruitment or one Mipla involved inside. Mipla kissim payment law damages.
While the developers plan the expansion of the Papua LNG project into the Eastern Highlands, landowners say the issue of imaginary lines and customary boundaries along the borders of Eastern Highlands and Gulf provinces have left people neglected for years.
People like him review must come up Namelo Tupla province, Eastern Islands with Gulf, na lane right na user right Blombla Papanground, inside Eastern Islands na Gorgelo Purari. And people must stop clear.
Charlene Airy, National EMTV News.
The state has agreed to partner an Australian firm to generate sustainable energy. Prime Minister James Marape says with the world critically hit hard with climate change issues, a greener solution to drive the economy is the best option. The understanding is to develop not just hydroelectricity, but build carbon-neutral industries in selected provinces.
A significant occasion for the state as it ventures into a record investment in generating hydroelectricity around the country. The agreement provides the platform to generate in excess of 25 gigawatts or more in identified provinces. The investor says the firm is serious in developing the untapped waterways and build carbon-neutral industries.
As I speak, so we're a no-nonsense company, and we see industries here which can not only build on the hydropower and geothermal electricity, which in itself is a massive gift to Papua New Guinea, to the world, an environmentally clean, bright future.
Prime Minister James Marape says this agreement will forge the way for Papua New Guinea to invest in greener and sustainable industries. He says the government will push for a win-win solution and maximize benefit through employment and revenue for the country.
This occasion marks a moment in which we are penning down an agreement and understanding, but we will advance into developing project agreements into the future at the convenience of both parties, the state on behalf of all landowners and provincial governments that his projects would encroach into, and himself and on behalf of the company that he represents.
The cabinet has endorsed Kumul Consolidated Holdings Limited to manage the state's interest. The minister responsible says KCHL will be working closely with provincial governments and landowners to develop projects.
And we sincerely pray and wish that this investment comes true, and both Australia and PNG benefit from these investments, and PNG becomes a favorable investment destination for all our senior investors in the region.
Jack Lapava Jr., National EMTV News.
Still ahead on National EMTV News, Beldan Namah asks Parliament to recognize him as leader of opposition. That story and more when we come back. Welcome back. Today's Parliament sitting was a mixture of serious debate and laughter, with Prime Minister James Marape calling Vanimo Green MP Beldan Namah his true brother. It began with the opposition member seeking leave of Parliament to ask a series of questions relating to the office of the Leader of Opposition.
Honorable member.
In any democratic governments around the world, the role of the Prime Minister is to lead the country with decision making, while the opposite side tries to hold the reigning government accountable for its decision. But in Papua New Guinea, politics plays out in a unique way, as best demonstrated on the floor of Parliament today.
I successfully won that court case.
Court reinstated opposition leader Beldan Namah rose to question the chair on his recognition as the leader of the opposition. He did so from the opposition leader's seat, but was addressed as the member for Vanimo Green.
The Speaker, the Honorable Joe Pomat, continued to address me as member for Vanimo Green River electorate and not as leader of the opposition. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I just recently won the court battle. On the 16th of July, 2020.
Namah didn't go far with the 4 questions he sought leave to ask in Parliament. He was first interrupted by the Hela governor.
Governor for Hela, I think you should be more concentrated on fixing Hela.
The second point of order came from the Treasurer, Ian Lingstaki.
Allegations by the member for Vanimo Green, the insinuations by the member for Vanimo Green appear to be directed to the Speaker, and so could we ask the Chair to make a ruling that the member for Vanimo Green reserve his right to direct those questions to the Speaker when he enters the chamber.
We have a point of order, Prime Minister.
With respect to...
But just when he was approaching his first question, the Prime Minister interrupted Namah again for the 3rd time, reminding Namah of the Parliament's standing orders to not discuss anything that is before the courts.
Due to Section 141 of the standing orders, matters of legal interpretations are not to be asked on the floor of Parliament.
Taking what the Prime Minister said into account, the Deputy Speaker advised Namah to put his questions in a letter and the Chair will make a response. Namah's series of questions were in relation to the court challenge on the appointment of Marape as Prime Minister in 2019. Minutes later, when the Prime Minister, in responding to questions on Barrick New Guinea Limited's plan to continue a legal battle with the state in relation to the Porgera gold mine, enjoyed a good laugh after he was interrupted by Namah, who jokingly told the Prime Minister,
Name my sweet true law, Prime Minister. Thank you.
Your point of order is out of order. The Prime Minister, continue.
I brought out true law. I must say, very different Jesse names outside the Mr. Oselo rugby field. One can do so.
Meanwhile, Parliament resumes tomorrow at 10 a.m. for the September sitting and is expected to rise this Friday. Thekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
Police have charged a man under the Money Laundering Act 2015 and Criminal Code as investigations continue. Robert Ralewa, a former CEO of Asian Pacific Insurance Broker, is believed to have defrauded 2.2 million kina via internet banking facility from Henry Curran Kiddy accountants and consultants. He was arrested for fraudulently diverting money into his private company between 2017 and 2018. The funds were taken from a trust account as well as an operating account. Ralewa from Rigo, Central Province, was arrested and later released on a 3,000 kina bail. EMTV will keep you informed as investigations continue. 2 foreign fishing vessels and a fuel tanker were intercepted by PNGDF patrol boat HMPNGS Ted Dero 40 miles north of Manus Province on Monday, August 24th. Their suspicious presence in PNG waters prompted the patrol boat to escort them to Lombrum Naval Base, after which relevant government authorities were notified to inspect the vessels. The National Fisheries Authority officers with the police, customs, quarantine and health teams boarded and inspected the vessels. It was revealed that the vessels are owned by a Japanese company and had current fishing licenses to conduct fishing. It was further revealed that the vessels were not given approval for bunkering out at sea. NFA officers served the detention notice to the captain of the vessels, awaiting further instructions from headquarters. According to NFA, the vessels are supposed to notify them within 72 hours before approval is given for bunkering the vessels out at sea. However, this was not the case. Meantime, Manus Provincial Police Commander Chief Inspector David Yapu said the PNGDF officers are providing the security for the vessels until further instructions from authorities for their release. He commended the PNGDF maritime elements for their excellent job in conducting sea surveillance and monitoring PNG waters to track down illegal fishing boats and yachts trafficking drugs. The Teaching Services Commission has brushed aside claims that TSC is not working closely with teachers to address their issues. Their response comes after claims made by PNG Teachers Association claiming that TSC has refused to work with teachers across the country.
In a media statement, TSC Acting Chairman Samson Wangihomi brushed aside all claims from PNGTA. He says TSC has never ignored plights from teachers and they have attended to all queries from teachers. However, they have refused to hold talks with PNGTA as there are ongoing in-house issues.
And I wish to put on record that we have a very harmonious and cordial working relationship with the Papua New Guinea Teachers Association.
The issue with PNGTA is a result of election disputes following the election of its president. According to TSC Acting Chairman, the election of the president and members of his team was disputed and is before the courts. Meanwhile, members from the Highlands Bloc have petitioned members of parliament to look into this matter. The Acting Chairman says TSC is not going into any discussions with anyone until all issues before the courts are solved.
We see PNGTA as a divided house at the moment. And so they had to really get their act in order so that, them having industrial responsibility over the subscribers and we we're having a legislated responsibility over our employees, our members who are the teachers.
The acting chairman further appealed to the PNGTA president and members of his team to refrain from spreading defamatory comments. He says the Teaching Service Commission is committed to establishing harmonious working relations with PNGTA, and they do not want to be involved in the internal affairs of PNGTA.
We do not want to be involved in the internal affairs of PNGTA until all their new executive elections are cleared by the courts. And having said that, NEB and TSC look forward to working with PNGTA after the court clears the election of Mr. Senangape and his team or otherwise.
Rayon Lakingu, National, MTV News.
Several heads of government departments were sworn into office by Governor General Grand Chief Sebob Dadai today. They include PNGDF Commander Gilbert Toropo and Department of Labour and Industrial Relations Ravu Vagi. Brigadier General Gilbert Toropo is in his second term in office and will be serving for a period of 4 years, effectively dating back to 3rd December 2019. The Labour and Industrial Relations Secretary will also be serving a period of 4 years, effective as of 17th January 2020. Their appointments were made by the National Executive Council and have been gazetted in the National Gazetto. Department of Personal Management Secretary Tai S. Sansan was there to witness the contract signing ceremony. NASFund has partnered with Pacific International Hospital to provide affordable medical access to its members. This agreement was signed by Chief Executive Officers of NASFund and PIH today in Port Moresby. With the new partnership in place, active NASFund contributors and their beneficiaries can make the most of discounts at PIH clinics in the nation's capital, as well as Lay International Hospital in Moresby. These include a 50% discount on general practitioner consultation and specialist consultation, 20% discount on laboratory and radiology services, 20% discount on total costs incurred for inpatients, 10% discount on pharmacy services, and free dental and eye checks. In order to attain access to these discounts, NASFund members must provide and present a valid NASFund membership card at PIH or LIH.
We assure the best services at the needed time, particularly at this time when there is a need for a quality healthcare to all the NASFund members. PIH is ready to offer at all PIH locations.
NASFund CEO Ian Taratia said the partnership under NASFund's membership discount program aims to make healthcare more affordable for its members.
Health in Papua New Guinea, whilst it's important, also has its challenges, especially good quality healthcare. We cannot continue relying on government to provide these essential support and services for our people, and it's up to us to also be part of that solution.
Taratia said all this is part of adding value to their members' well-being, and in order for members to enjoy their wealth tomorrow, they have to be healthy today. PIH Chairman Sermoy Ave, in acknowledging NASFund, encouraged people to go for treatment at PIH and LIH and utilize the services there.
Last week, as you know, Prime Minister opened a new clinic for PIH because we want to go out in the community to do more. In this hard economic time, everybody's shrinking its services. But we have total confidence in this country, and with this alignment with an important icon for nation building like NASFund, Papua New Guinea can go far.
While Sermoy expressed delight in the partnership with NASFund, he also mentioned having appealed to the Prime Minister to consider subsidizing health services.
I appealed to Prime Minister last week to consider a health subsidy so that Papua New Guinea, instead of going overseas all the time, can come and get services here.
And now looking at the NAS Fund market report, the Kina closed unchanged at 0.2870 US dollars in the interbank markets. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina is buying 0.2795 US dollars, 0.3745 Australian dollars, 0.2259 euro and 28.94 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold is trading higher, coffee, cocoa and copper closed higher. Crude oil is trading higher, palm oil closed lower and copper closed higher. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 223.82 points lower. The ASX 200 is trading at 107.06 points lower, and the All Ordinaries is trading at 102.69 points lower. The National EMTV News continues with more stories after these messages. Stay with us. Welcome back to the news. 7 United Church chapels in Gavone village in the Abao district will undergo a major refurbishment exercise under a community development project, the Family Altar Project. Adopted from the Central Provincial Development Plan, the concept aims to improve village lives through SMEs, sports and church programs. One of these chapels was decommissioned over the weekend to mark the start of the projects in the village.
Gavone village in the Abao district of Central Province has a population of 5,000 people with 12 clans and 26 sub-clans. To cater for the large congregation, the villagers built 7 chapels and have been using them since 2004. Under the Family Altar Project, these chapels will be upgraded to house the growing community.
Family Altar concept is one of those programs that is in this village that I believe is the structure for the way forward for family participation in worship and in life-changing endeavors that the church want to bring upon young people.
Central Province Governor Robert Agarobe, when speaking at the decommissioned service, commended the ward councillor and said the concept goes in line with the Provincial Development Plan to build proper village structures.
They've had them for a while now, but they need to be renovated, or they need to build new ones now, demolish them and build new ones. So, like I said earlier, it's directly in line with the provincial plan. We want to get proper structured communities because every community's got to have a proper ward development plan. And when we put in our provincial plan together, we want to work in line with the local level government plan for the LNG and also with the wards.
Yana Zoririn, National MTV News.
It's been 44 years since the PNG Defence Force Engineering Battalion was established in Green River, West Sepik Province. Over the years, the unit has built roads, bridges, airstrips and various other civic action projects across the country and still do today. Today, the sappers, as they are known, celebrated the challenges, achievements and the experiences gained over 4 decades.
This year's celebration was smaller than in previous years because of COVID-19 restrictions. This morning, the sappers, guests and a few family members gathered to commemorate 44 years since the birth of the PNGDF Engineering Battalion. Commanding Officer Lieutenant Colonel Bruno Malau commended his officers, saying despite constraints with manpower, equipment and finance, they have continued to perform their duties.
I salute you all sappers for your undivided support, your commitment, your sacrifices. Some of you have been out there in operations for 7 to 8 months, almost 9 months, and you still end up doing the job that you've signed up to.
We have achieved some tremendous results. We have continued to transform the force while undertaking our core task in nation building with a higher level of commitment and professionalism.
The Engineering Battalion was established in 1976. Their first project was the Green River Airstrip in the West Sepik Province. Since then, they've built over 600 projects, which include roads, bridges, and other civic action projects. This year, 76 of these engineers were deployed to Australia as part of the Kumul Force 17 contingent to help rebuild communities affected by the Australian bushfires. While these sappers celebrated the Engineering Battalion's 44th anniversary at the unit's base at the Igam Barracks, others observed the day at various project sites around the country.
Platoon, about 30 soldiers currently up in Hayom, constructing the road towards Simbai as I speak. Also, I'd like to commend our troops as well. We have about 30 of our soldiers as well in Finsafen road project. I'm currently working alongside the Finsafen district and also the Department of Works and the China Railway Company.
Lucy Kopana, National EMTV News, Leh.
Trukai Sports is next, and more good news from PNG International, Justin Olam.
Yes, Helen, I'll tell you about that later in Trukai Sports, but coming up next, kite surfing in Central Province.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. The code of kite surfing is not new, neither is it popular in Papua New Guinea. One-time PNG International rep Benny Kali wants to change this perception. With support from Pacific Industries, Hula Village in the Central Province hosted a kite surfing competition last weekend. Hula Village in the Central Province played host to a unique water sport, kite surfing.
Pepsi Hula Classic Kiteboarding Competition out here in Hula. Basically, we had some contestants. We've got the Pepsi team here, the Pepsi kiteboarding team here, and we did some speed racing. As you can see, we had some markers out here in the ocean which we put, and we did some time trials around. And then after that, we did some freestyle tricks in the zone here. Everyone had about 10 minutes, and you get to do your best tricks and best jumps. We had quite a few people come in. I think we had about 25 contestants today.
Although the code has been around, it is not as popular as rugby league in Papua New Guinea. In 2014, Benny Kali, a young athletic Central lad, represented Papua New Guinea in the kitesurfing World Championships in Beijing, China.
Okay, first I represented the country, so I was just attending international comps mainly in Australia, and then that's when I was making my way towards the World Championships.
Upon returning home, Benny groomed a vision of growing the code in Papua New Guinea. With such a big dream, you need support. And to Benny's fortune, Pacific Industries came in to help realize this dream.
Is, get to the World Championships again. Benny here has been to the World Championships in Beijing. He represented Papua New Guinea. So we're having more of these competitions every week so that we can get some good training in. You might have seen us down at Ella Beach and the Koki Fish Market. So we're training up all the guys so that we're in hope that we can all go there as a team and represent Papua New Guinea again. So the end goal is, yes, to represent Papua New Guinea on a world stage. More so than that, we really want to get the sport going in PNG and get more young kids involved into it, because sport's a good way to promote good values, discipline, sacrifice, bring communities together like this. Look, the whole Hula Village is here watching. So it's a really good way to spend a Sunday, get all the families out here and have a good time.
In perfect conditions for the kite surfing last weekend, the competition saw Hula Kite Club winning in all categories, including the formula race as well as the freestyle class. South Pacific Brewery, through its SP Lager brand, has made a formal commitment to pursue its support to the Oil Search National Football Stadium for the remainder of 2020. This will help ensure the continuity of programs for the remainder of this year, despite the difficult times caused by the COVID-19 pandemic.
SP Brewery announced this decision today at the Oil Search National Football Stadium. The OSNFS has confirmed that for the remainder of the 2020 season, some local tournaments will continue, but with a revised format and in accordance with COVID-19 protocols. SP Brewery Commercial Manager Moses Williams said SP Lager has paid 50% of the normal annual commitment to the NFS for the remainder of this year, even though there have been no proper season games played at the facility in 2020. Punet's country manager Sean Vincent, who currently manages the venue, responded by stating that the gesture and commitment by Esprit Brewery really demonstrates their understanding of supporting PNG Rugby League at all levels. The cancellation of the Queensland Intrust Super Cup in March 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic saw 80% of the Oil Search National Football Stadium's revenue removed from the 2020 budget. The venue management had to regroup and restructure budget spending immediately. The directive given by the Lloyd Robson Oval trustees and the stadium naming rights sponsor, Oil Search, was to put the venue's fields through a much-needed rehabilitation program in readiness for the 2021 season. Felis Sukina, Trukai Sport.
It was a sibling rivalry on Sunday, but more towards the penalty conversion department of the game between the Vipers and the Gurias, with Watson Boas and Ase Boas kicking penalties to change the lead in the match. In a match riddled with errors, there was also a sin bin in the game.
The Gurias put points on the board first through a penalty, the conversion slotted in by halfback Watson Boas. The first try of the match came in the 30th minute through Brandon Gotuno after a simple set move on the left side.
He links up now with man on the ground, and there it is, the first try to the Vipers.
The score remained 4-2 in favor of the Vipers until half-time. The Gurias managed to claim their first try in the second half. 10 minutes into the match, John Ruggie Jr., after coming off a sin bin, going over for the team's first try.
And he's over for the Gurias. What a try, Edward Goma.
A successful conversion by Watson Boas saw the Gurias take a 8-4 lead, but the Vipers managed to close the deficit to 2 points after a penalty conversion by Ase Boas. After Brendan Gotuno was taken out of his kick chase, the Vipers again capitalized with a further 2 points, Ase Boas tying the scores at 8-8. But the penalties kept on coming. This time Gurias had the chance to snatch back the lead, Watson Boas claiming the crucial 2 points. As if that wasn't enough, big brother Ase Boas getting the scores tied once more with another Vipers penalty conversion. The 10-10 score was finally broken, 5-8 Wartowo Puara Jr. passing to halfback Watson, who managed to brush off 2 before taking on 3 defenders to score the match winner.
I think he's over. And there it is. So
the Vipers tried to regain the lead but fell short of the line. The 14 points to 10 victory by the Gurias sees them move up to third, and the Vipers fall back outside of the top 4 in 5th position. In the other matches played over the weekend, the Wagi Tumbes defeated the Hagen Eagles 16 points to 10. The Muruks trashed the Isos 40 points to 4. The Wigmen managed a 24 points to 14 win over the Dabaris, and the Lahanis took a 40 points to 12 defeat at the hands of the Tigers, and the Mioks won 18 points to 10 against the Kimbe Cutters. Felis Sukina, Trukai Sports.
And Trukai Sports ends there. The weather forecast with Helen Sear after the break. Bye for now.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
A look at the weather forecast in the southern region. Fine, although cloudy in Port Moresby, Kerema and Poplin-Ditta. Mostly fine weather in Daru and cloudy with a few showers in Alotau. In the Momase region, occasional rain showers tonight. A cloudy morning in Lae. Partly cloudy tonight with chance of early morning thundery showers in Medang, Wewak and Vanimo. In the New Guinea Islands region, occasional thundery rain showers tonight, easing to fine cloudy morning in Lorengau, Kavieng and Kimbe. Cloudy tonight with occasional thundery rain showers in Kokopo and Rabaul, and occasional rain showers tonight and a cloudy morning in Buka. In the Highlands region, light drizzles, then morning fog right across the region in Mount Hagen, Goroka, Kundiala, Nandi and Wabeg.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoneyPlus, with you always.
And that's been the news, sport and weather for today, Tuesday the 1st of September 2020. From all of us here at EMTV, pleasant viewing. Bye for now.